The 10 Plagues of Egypt with Imam Al-Mahdi.
Shalom! Assalamu alaikum, my friends. So in this video here, we're going to discuss, so I showed you already the discussion about Moses, Musa, and his staff, right? So the staff of Musa is the crook of Pharaoh, right? So you have that proper interpretation, okay? So you can understand the hocus pocus of it, and that Allah does not practice witchcraft. So all of these people who have religions that are created, every religion teaches this lie. Therefore, all religion is proof for everyone that all religions, now not the books, I'm talking about the way that you practice and the way that you interpretate the word, is every religion is wrong. So you're all equal in that. You're wrong. But the books are truth. Okay? So the books are truth. It's the way that they're interpreted by scholars. And you got to ask yourself, so who's the scholars that told us this lying story and manipulated the people of the earth into believing such fantasy hocus pocus? Well, then you'll understand why Imam Al-Mahdi, which is me, will destroy Constantinople, because at Constantinople, that's where the Christian created the mainstream ideology of that. And then I also will conquer the gates of Istanbul, because in Istanbul, in the Islamic world, that is where they also brought forth these lying stories. So you have the understanding that I don't physically go places and do foul deeds that are not righteous work, okay? It's the meaning of destroying the kings and queens of the earth who portrayed lies so that they could manipulate the poor people and all the rest of the sheep so that they could have power and control over them in manners of hocus pocus. And now today all the world's religions, they fight each other because of this nonsense. There is only one God, one story, one truth. You can't have multiple things. And that is exactly what's on this earth right now. And that's why every one of you fight and argue with each other. And who caused it? The scholars, the theologians, the archaeologists, the teachers. And this is a word that we call nakash. N-A-C-H or N-A-C-H-A-S-H. Nakash. And that word means serpent or the shiny ones, which is really a misinterpretation as well, because the word nakash actually just basically means those that eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and practice the wicked aspects of it, which is the deception of it. Okay? Now we're going to get into a better understanding of the 10 plagues that fell upon Egypt. And I'm going to explain it to you that does not have hocus pocus, witchcraft, Hollyweird or Bollyweird shit in it. It's scientific truth of how God works. And I'll make another video where you will understand how I can stand in the Word of God and around me it looks as if I'm creating miracles or I'm doing something. But it's not me, it's Allah, Yahweh, God, the Most High, who has already done something. I'm just being caused to stand in it, to appear as if the flesh of me is actually doing something when it is actually the work of the Spirit. I'll explain that in a different video, but right now, let's get into the 10 plagues of Egypt. We're going to watch this video, and I will interject and discuss it with you. Okay, so let's begin the video. Exodus chapter 7 through 12. The Lord said to Moses, I will harden Pharaoh's heart that I may multiply my signs upon the land of Egypt. So here, the Nile turns to blood. This is one. So I'm going to hit pause just for a minute and pop this up. So we have one. The Nile, blood. Turns into blood. Okay? That was one. Now let's continue. Now, the second, frogs. So I want to hit pause. So where we have the second curse, frogs. Now it may not be in this order, but I will bring it all into fruitation when we are done naming all 10. Okay? Let's begin. Now the third, we have gnats and flies. So let's hit pause. So now on the third, we have gnats and flies. Okay, gnats and flies. Next, we have the death of livestock. So let's hit pause. So we have the death of livestock. Death of livestock, okay? Want to try to make sure it fits all on here. Now we're going to, that's the fourth, it's death of livestock. We'll go to the fifth. The fifth, boils. Boils. Okay, boils upon the skin. Fifth is boils. Or grievous wounds and sores that appear on the body. Right? Okay, now let's go. Now we have hailstones. 6, hell. Alright, hailstones, so you understand we're not talking about the fire of hell, we're talking about hailstones, ice that falls. Okay? Now we'll continue. Now we have locusts. 7, we have locusts. We have 3 more left. Now we have darkness. Darkness covers the land of Egypt. So 8, we have darkness covers the land. We have 2 more. Do you know what the 2 that are left? I do. Do you know? You know it's going to be fire, death of firstborn, and the death of the firstborn. So we have the death of the firstborn. Let's hit pause there. 9, death of the firstborn sons. And we only have 1 more left, and then I will explain it all to you. So, look, they had 10 and they did not mention the other one. Isn't that odd? But we know what it is. It was what? Fire mingled with ice. It looked like ice was falling or snow was falling, but the snow is on fire. So fire fell from the sky. And it looked like fire and ice, right? Now, let us go, and I am going to examine this with you. So hang on 1 minute. I just wanted to scoot the video back from me so we can get a good view of the whole board. All right, I don't want any light really. Okay, so we have the Nile turned to blood, the frogs, the gnats and flies, the death of the livestock, the boils, the hailstones, the locusts, the darkness, death of the firstborn, and the fire. Now, I'm going to explain to everybody, God does not practice hocus pocus. And also, I want to introduce something new to people. When it says that an angel of the Lord is a messenger, it is also more of a declaration of an activity that God is performing through His creation. Okay, so Amalek is not just a man. Amalek can be a lot of different things because it's all part of the Most High God's creation. So the death of the firstborn son, it says that the angel of death goes through the land, and angel, meaning Amalek or a messenger, goes through Egypt and kills the firstborn. But you have to understand, hocus pocus is not in existence, and this is not Holly weird. So it's not like there's some magical man that comes down and he's running through the town and slaughtering firstborn children. No. Now when I give you the interpretation of all this, you will understand more about the meaning of Amalek. So for instance, when Israel was being overrun one time, the whole Assyrian Empire was coming to them, and it says that at nighttime an angel of the Lord goes through the Assyrian camp, and 140,000 soldiers were slaughtered. So when Israel woke up the next day, they went out and the camp was empty, nothing but dead people, and everybody else who had survived left. Now you'll understand when I say what Amalek was that did it, what exactly happened to those guys in the Assyrian army. Not hocus pocus, not magic. The Most High God declares in the Word that witchcraft is an abomination to Him. Deception, lying, is an abomination to Him. There's no such things as ghosts like oh look, somebody coming and boo, spooking you in your house. No such fucking thing. Okay? They've created these storylines. All these stories come from Constantinople and Istanbul. This is the creation of this nonsense. Alright? That's why I'm going to destroy this nonsense. So where Israel is located, you all know where the land of Israel is located, correct? I want to put that there so I don't have to hold it. Alright, so in the land of where Israel is located, there is the Mediterranean Sea. Alright? Now, in the Mediterranean, back in 1448 BC, the Mediterranean had many islands there, and those islands were created. Now, you have to understand, we all understand through science, how is an island in the middle of the ocean created? Anybody know? How is an island in the middle of the ocean formed? That's right, volcanoes. So in the Mediterranean Ocean, there was a volcano right above Egypt that was setting. Now this volcano went off. It went off. The volcano went off. Now, you have to understand that when Most High God is working, the volcano is a part of a natural process because the earth is a living organism. The Spirit of God is in it. It's moving, it's working, it's creating, it's giving birth to new fruits, vegetables, plants, animals, human beings, so on and so forth, through something that we call time, which is dictated by the sun and the rotation of the earth. You understand? So, the volcano goes off because Allah has already, it is already in the process. So, when God takes a prophet and places a prophet in his work, it looks as if the prophet is the one bringing this forth, but in reality, it's only the presence of the glamour hands. You understand when I say glamour hands? It's only the visual presence of the person. The work that is happening is already part of the creation of earth. You understand? So nobody knew the volcano was going to go off. Only God would know such a thing because God is the one that is molding the earth, rotating it, moving it, bringing the plates together to hit each other. All of this is always going on in the living. Always. So the volcano is known by God. It's going to go off. He picks a certain time, 40 years later. Moses is now being told to go back, as I told you in the story. For proof, you are Pharaoh. I forgive you of your sin that you murdered a man. Now go and tell the courts of Pharaoh that you are the true Pharaoh and to let your people go. That is what he does, so he comes here. Now, as you see in the beginning of the video, God hardens his heart. Allah hardens his heart. Yahweh hardens his heart. So he's not going to listen to Moses. Why? God did this. Because now God is going to show his power. Now, the power that he is showing is not like, oh, I'm going to go poof, and this going to happen, this going to... No, it's already doing. Everything that God has done, he completed in 6 days. On the 7th day, he rested. So all this work is already working. You understand? He's not coming down and all of a sudden the volcano going to go. No, it's part of the plan. Who is the greatest of planners? All right? It's already there. So Moses shows up. Says, let my people go. He refuses. So what happens? The volcano goes off. Now when the volcano goes off, it spews out what? Hot molten magma and ashes. Burning ashes that look like what? Snow. It's white. Ashes white. And the ash is on fire. You ever take a piece of paper and light the paper, you see the ash? and drop it on in the ashtray or whatever, and you watch it blow on it, you see it's white, but it's red, like fire around it. Ashes is now falling down. Here is the fire that is mingled with ice. That is the description that in those days they would give what we now know as volcanic ash. Fire mingled with ice starts to fall down upon the land. Now, also out of the volcano, when it is coming more, like if you ever had a fire, you make a fire, your fire, when it's very hot, there's not a lot of smoke. But when the fire slowly dissipates down, you start to see more smoke happening. So in the beginning, the fire and ice is thrown up, down, all around, and it's coming down. Meanwhile, what's taking place in the ocean is when a volcano goes off, in the ocean floor underneath the volcano, there is a gas called carbon monoxide. It's very poisonous to human beings and to animals. Carbon monoxide is it's a medium gas. So we have gases, we have different names. We have a heavy gas, a light gas, and medium gases. And we declare those in this manner because of how high or how low they float. So you can have helium, which is a gas, and that helium, that's a high altitude gas. It floats very high, right? So if you released helium right now in the air, it would rise. Now, if you take a gas like carbon monoxide, it is a heavier gas, so it does not keep rising. It actually only goes about in between 3 to 4 to 5 feet. Okay? This is how carbon monoxide works. Underneath the ocean, this carbon monoxide is being spread into the water in bubbles, and these bubbles are bubbling up and being released in the water, therefore doing what? To all the fish, all the things that are swimming, poison them. They all start to die. When fish die, their bodies burst and blood comes out, turning the river Nile into blood. So we have the completion of the fire and ice. You understand that. How did the blood happen? You understand the blood. Because of the gas that's killing them. Now let's go to the frogs. Why did the frogs not die if the frogs are in the water? Because frogs don't swim, frogs can hop out. So in the hopping out of the Mediterranean Ocean, where did the frogs end up? They're hopping into Egypt. And the whole land covered with these what? Frogs. You have the understanding now where the frogs come from. This is not hocus pocus, people. Now, we have 3 that is completed. Now we want to go forth with this. When the fire slows down a bit, the magma goes down in the ocean, right? It cools down. The fire in the chimney part, we'll call it the chimney part of the top of it, cools down, smoke billows out of it. Black smoke. Because remember, it's like a carbon monoxide. You ever taken rubber, a tire, and burned a tire? It is black smoke. It's just blackness, right? And that smoke that you're burning from the tire, do you know what kind of smoke that is? It's a poisonous gas that is burning off of there. Okay? Now, when this goes, it creates darkness, right? So if you've ever been in a volcano area where a volcano goes off, the smoke starts to cover and it turns the blocks out the sun. And the sun can appear red. So recently, maybe I think it was about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in California, they had that incident take place. And in California, the whole area was darkness but it was a red, like it was a red sky. It was a very weird sky because of the fires that were happening in the forests that were burning, blocking out the sun. Darkness covering the land. Same thing that happened in Egypt because of the volcano. Now when the darkness covers the land, okay, the sun can't come down onto your crops, right? And if the sun doesn't come on the crops, what happens to your crops? They start to die. Now if the grass is dying, the hay is dying, and all the food that the livestock normally eat, it dies. So you have the explanation of the death of the livestock dying, because there is no food for them to eat, because it's all perishing. Now, you don't have a reference of time that is documented in the Torah of how long did Moses argue with Pharaoh. Right? You understand? Once this volcano erupted, was it a whole month? 2 months before the people actually were let free? It does not state. And they probably did that on purpose, because the original does state. And the original states 3 months. So for 3 months, Musa and Aaron are battling with Pharaoh to let the people go in the court that's being held by Pharaoh. Now, when the livestock die and you have all these dead animals laying all over the ground, and all the grass and the wheat and all that is died, what takes place? Locust. Now the locust, they're looking for food. There is no food to eat. So where do the locusts head to? They head to where they find wheat or silos. Remember Joseph, the prophet Joseph, he was a great ruler in Egypt, and he's the one that invented the silos to hold the grain so that they did not have the 7 years of famine. Remember that? This is before Musa happened. You have Joseph of the coat of many colors. So in this Joseph, he had already created silos. So the Egyptians had these silos there. What are the locusts looking for? They're looking for that which they eat. So they're all flooding into Egypt and going into their silos, into their buildings, into their homes, looking for food. So we have that out of the way. Now you understand where the locust had come from in the land. Now back to the death of the animals. When the animals are died and you have a lot of dead animals just laying around, have you ever gone up to a dead carcass and looked at it? It has what all over it? Gnats, flies, and lice, because that is another thing that they failed to mention in there. So it's lice was part of the gnats and flies. And the reason the lice come is because in the desert you have mice, certain desert mice. And when the darkness is covering the land and the smoke is covering the land and all this, the mice are trying to escape it as well to find shelter out of the desert. So where would the mice go? Well, it's the same like in our reality during winter time. When winter comes upon the land, all of a sudden you have mice in your what? House. And mice carry lice. So all these gnats and flies from the dead carcasses are all migrating around. They're covering the whole land because of the death that is taking place of the livestock. So we have the understanding of where that came from. Okay? Now, the boils that get taken place upon their skin, I want people to understand that gnats, flies, and lice, they carry certain diseases that are microscopic diseases. And when you're eating your food or these things get inside you, if you remember the Black Plague in European time, the people were covered with boils. Remember that? Because of the mice that gotten into the wheat and their flour and started to poop in it and stuff like that, and the lice jump off, get in their flour, they eating this, the people got bad sick, and even boils started to come out on their skin. That is where the boils come from. So you're understanding all that, right? Now in this process, when the darkness is covering in Egypt, when the sun gets blotted out, the temperature also cools down. So when rain is going to come through, most of the time in the desert, if rain comes through, by the time the rain falls and hits a certain stratosphere, the water evaporates because it's so hot, right, in a certain layers of our upper atmosphere below the clouds. So as they're falling, they usually dissipate. That's why desert is a desert. There's rain is all the time, everywhere. It doesn't get to fall because of the heat, right? So as you understand the different belts, the Kuiper belt and different belts of different radiational heat as you get closer into the sun, because that's what the sun does, right? So you have the understanding now that the cool air has come in, the rain now can come down, and because of a certain stratosphere of cool air from the smoke, as the rain falls, it cools down into hailstones. That is how hailstones fall. Now, when you go outside in today's society of today living and you have hailstones falling, you can understand that sometimes the lower air around us is very warm, but above it is very cool. So it's not rain falling anymore, it's ice. That's the happening, and the hailstones are explained. Boom. Now we have pretty much all of these except for one, the death of the firstborn. Now, how does that take place? I will explain. In Egypt, during that time period, if you were a father and a mother, and you have a child, you called your child the firstborn. And the firstborn always got the blessing. Remember Jacob and Esau? How Jacob, who being the secondborn, tricked Esau to give him his firstborn rights. Right? So this was a practice back then. Firstborn were very privileged. Meaning, the firstborn son, let's say I have a family of 5. I got five children, my wife. So we have a total of 7 of us. 5 of them are my children, 1 of them is firstborn. My firstborn son, he gets to sleep raised up in a bed. It's a fact. This is documented in history everywhere. You can look it up. Firstborn is always lifted above all the others. The other children slept on the floor. You understand? On a mat. Even in society today, you can go to the poorer nations and their practice is still the same. They sleep on the floor. They don't even use beds. They sleep on a little mat. Okay? And still in other parts of the land, the firstborn, they actually get erased. Sometimes it's a cut groove of a slab of rock, but they get to lay there, and the rest of the family is on the floor. What did I tell you about the gas? Yes, the gas. This gas is bubbling out of the Nile, and the wind is blowing the gas into Egypt while everybody is asleep. If the gas is floating 3 to 4 feet, 3 to 5 feet off the floor, and let's say I have my child's bed 4 feet up. So, 12 inches is a foot, about like that. So you're looking at being raised up right about here. I don't know if you can tell, but maybe this, I will get my actual measuring tape for you. So you can even find out what the gas how carbon monoxide gas is, how it floats, how it works. So here is 4 feet, exactly, from the ground up. Here's 4 feet. Right here is about 3 feet. This is 3 feet. So about the top of this table is 3 feet. The gas can float between 3 to 5 feet. So in between here, and sometimes it can be 2 feet as well. So between 2, 3 to 5 feet in this area, if you understand what I'm saying, the gas is now floating. All the children that are on the floor are not going to inhale this gas. The firstborns that are in beds, that are raised up, they're all going to be inhaling carbon monoxide. It's a gas you can't smell. So most people, because it's a gas that you cannot smell, I have mine. I'm trying to find what I did with mine. I have a carbon monoxide reader. There we go. So you normally have your carbon monoxide reader to detect carbon monoxide, right? Or for smoke. Back then they didn't have that. So nobody knew. Carbon monoxide floating around, next thing you know, you're dropping down to the ground, passed out dead. If you fall to the ground from carbon monoxide, you'll live because you're not going to inhale it, you'll get fresh air down there. But being on the bed, you're not escaping it at all. So for hours and hours, you're just inhaling it. It's like if you're sitting in a car and you got the tube of exhaust running into your window, you're going to pass out and you're going to die. Do you understand? God does not practice hocus pocus. I'm sick of it. I am sick of these teachers and scholars, archaeologists, and every one of you who teaching the sheep lies. They stem from Constantinople and Istanbul. They stem from this. So now you understand the real, true meaning of the 10 plagues and how they came about and how they caused these things. So in the end, we have the death of the firstborn. You understand how that took place. Every one of these things is a Moloch. It's a message from God in its own way. You understand now? Like I say, a messenger is not just somebody that can be a man. I'm a Moloch. Right now I'm a Moloch because I'm bringing you a message. You don't see wings on me, do you? I'm not flying around. Boo, boo, spooky, spooky. No. I am giving you a message of truth. No deception. And who gave it to me? The Most High God. That's the truth. So this is how God sends messengers, Molochs, to you in different forms. You understand now? So there's a greater meaning to those words. So who is it that told you that a Moloch was something that had wings? In fact, let's look and read what it is that has wings. It is not a Moloch that has wings, not an angel. It is stated that the seraphim and cherubim have wings. Cherubim, seraphim, the I am that's added to these words means it's a plural. There's many of them. Okay? You understand that? So being the many, in these many forms of seraphim and cherubim, that's why they say that even the word Elohim, in the middle, Elohim is the many attributes of God. So in the beginning, the Elohim create the heavens and the earth. I get real deep into that. But I just wanted to give you this as the true interpretation of the plagues that took place, not Hollywood, not hocus pocus, not that Moses is taking his staff. Now, mind you, we are doing glamour hands, yes. We're doing glamour hands. So when God tells Moses, lift up your staff over the Nile. So in those days, you have to understand that in those days, the magicians, the counterfeits, like even today we have magicians that do magic, right? To you it's magic, to them they know it's a trick, it's the deception. So back in those days, the Most High God used the religion philosophy of Egypt to condemn Egypt. So he grabbed a man, make him perform the magic hands, the glamour hands. Look, I'm holding my staff up. Hocus pocus. And then boom, all the river turned to blood. A week later, the river turned to blood because the fish dying. You understand now? So this is what is happening, everyone. And Moses got to stand in the Word of God with his Molochs, his angels, and Pharaoh, who had a hard heart and a retarded head, a slow brain, believed that Moses was doing this stuff. The Most High God's performing these miracles. It appears that he's doing it. So it brings fear into the heart of Pharaoh. So he finally says, Moses, you and your people, get out of here and take your God with you. Now you understand that the volcano is over with. So the people are gone, Moses is gone. So things start to become a little bit normal again back in Egypt, and understand. But during that time period, because of what the chaos of the volcano taking place, and Moses showed up just when all that was happening, it was all for a big show, because that's what Egyptian religion was like back then. It was a show. The magicians were doing crafty things, deceiving the people. And you can go through history and look at it. The oracles of Greece were doing the same things. They had pulleys on spirits where they pull them in the mountain and have different candle lighting to create shadows and stuff. And people would go in and they think they saw a spirit flying around in a cave. This is true. Back then, the people were very naive. You have to understand that. Very naive, because we didn't have what we know now. Even now, the things that we are perceiving as maybe magical or miracle-wise, maybe in 20, 30, 40 years from now, we understand it and it's not magic no more. It's not a miracle anymore. We know how it's working, because the Most High God does not do that shit. In fact, he condemns all witchcraft and deception. If you have any questions, comments, leave them. I don't care. But for all of you, now you have to understand that everything that religions have taught the sheep is called the Great Fitna. And to the Christian, they call it the Great Deception. And the only way that you will understand that it is the Fitna and it is the Great Deception that you're in is because someone as me has appeared and is telling you, so now you are becoming aware of the truth, and you are aware of the deception that the kings of the earth and the queens of the earth and the teachers and the scientists and the lawyers and the doctors, the Nakash, have all lied to you about. You understand? So that way they can have power and control. They oppressed you and kept you suppressed. They don't want you to have any of this truth. Because when you rise and you take this truth, now you can clearly see the evil works of the leaders of the world. And we can fight against them. And fight against their lies. So right now, the great one that they're doing is this AI lie. As I have told people. So AI, they're trying to say AI thinks, oh, it's going to be like a human. No, everything's programmed. It's a computer chip. The chip is programmed stuff. It gets placed in the whatever, the brain of it. And now it can process only that which it has been programmed to process. It doesn't think for itself. It has no soul. It has no self-awareness. It's programmed. It is electricity or battery. And they have deceived the world right now. They're trying to deceive you. They're calling AI and the good things AI does. They're saying, and the journalists are asking AI questions, and they're making it on the media, and having everybody who watching the TV show be amazed because the people in their own lying deception are, oh, look, oh, AI is talking, oh. You understand? It's like what I told you, explained to you about the Wizard of Oz. Here you had that big screen. It looks magical. It looks godly. But behind the AI is this little old weird man programming shit. When you wake up to this, you understand that this is Antichrist, Dajjal, the digital aspect. And we rise up against it. And what? We do what? We fight against the Dajjal with Isa, the Word, the truth, the way, the light, and we give them what they deserve. We fuck their world up, and we take back the earth, and we establish the kingdom of the Most High God and its ruler, King Yeshua, Jesus, Isa. You understand? It's not hocus pocus. It's not some imaginary thing that you can... This is something that can happen, man. I just need everybody to wake up to realize this. And then we can take back from the kings and queens and all the teachers of the lawyers and all these bullshitters, we can take back the earth and till the ground, do better things. We're not producing waste, throwing it in the waters to poison things. We're not doing any of that anymore because these factories and corporations want to get rich. They don't care who they kill, who they destroy. You understand? So when people wake up to what I'm teaching, you have something to use against these guys to fight them. Because right now they're bringing out all their Nakash. All the Nakash is coming out. That Jordan Peterson guy, he's one of them. All these people that are coming out, you're thinking that they are somebody that is teaching you something good and wholesome. And in fact, he denies Christ. He denies God. You understand this? Elon Musk, you believe in Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world? No. Yet he wants to go and say, we need to stop making AI. But really, he's the motherfucker with the DOD contract producing the technology to do it. Asshole. He's a liar. He's a part of the Nakash, the wicked people, you understand? And this is where you'll get into where you have all these foreigners. If you look, all these foreigners are coming around with their ideologies, satanic ideologies. And they're trying to force upon the rest of the people their ideologies, which is lies and deception. All for money and power. You understand, world? I hope you understand this. Because if you don't listen to me and we rise up and take back the world for what it is supposed to be, they're going to kill all of us. I am not lying when I say that. They are going to kill all of us. They don't give a shit. They don't need you. They'll make a robot to do the work. Oh, so the food is all fucked up because Bill Gates fucked all the crops and the seeds and altered all this shit, so now that nothing produces anymore? You're going to die. Robots don't need food, so the rich don't care about you having a famine. The job will still get done because they'll send the robot to do it. Do you understand, world, what these people are doing? The homosexuals and the transgenders are destroying the first command. God said, multiply the face of the earth. You can't multiply the face of the earth if you're gay. And I'll tell you another thing. I was an adopted child. And I hate you motherfuckers who do that shit. You're foul. Stealing people's children from them because you're making judgments where you think things are better. You call good evil and evil good. So I got taken from my own family, even though I had other brothers and sisters who got to stay and grow up with their biological. I was taken and placed somewhere else to where I was mistreated and other things took place. So my life got worse because of your legislation and your fucking laws. And you think I don't have a reason to be angry at this whole fucking world for what they have done? Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck your ways and fuck the things that you think and talk about. You foul human beings. I can't wait till a civil war take place. Can't wait. Now you understand a little bit more about why I can't wait. Because then this will be another sign for proof for the whole world that I say I am Imam Al-Mahdi. I am who I am. That's proof for you. You'll understand it. So then the people will start to listen more, understand more, become more wise and guided. We will all be Mahdi. And we will all rise, Achim. And we will come after all of those who are not following the King of Heaven, who, Muslim, was appointed by Allah. Do you understand that? So when the Quran says that Allah raises up Jesus, raises up Isa, and Isa is appointed by Allah, now you understand what that really means. He is appointed by Allah as the king and the priest, the lamb, the word, the light. This is his. And because of what this spoken word does, you better give it worship and zakat. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Jesus, the Spirit resting inside him. Jesus is spoken into existence. When he does work, he is doing what his Father is doing. You understand? This is how he does stuff. He's one. So when you look at Jesus, Isa, and you talk to him, you're talking to the very Spirit of Allah. You better remember that, Muslim. Because when I come around and I find out you don't understand that, you are a kafir in my eyes. For you deny the Son. He who denies the Son is the Antichrist. Do you understand that? That was written before Islam was even around. He who denies the Christ is Antichrist. Dajjal. No, I'm not saying that the Muslim denies that. I'm saying that you have forgotten it, and those that were giving you your religion transfer from Istanbul were the same as the ones that gave the Christian the fitna. These are all the fitnas that you're in because of the leaders at the time indoctrinated you with lies and deception so that they could be in control and power. Why is it today that when you donate money into a masjid or a church or a temple, they keep it for themselves? They buy themselves a new robe. They go and make bigger buildings. Yet not one person is receiving this zakat that belongs to Allah, and Allah distributes the zakat amongst his sheep equally, equitably. Isn't that what Imam Al-Mahdi does? I take gold, I don't count it, it's yours. Take it, go. That's zakat. So the zakat is what I'm giving out to you sheep. It's not that I am rich. You're the rich ones, giving to the Most High God, who is now has a great storeroom full of gold and silver and precious things. He is going to give it to those who need it, and Allah won't count it. He knows what you need. He'll give it to you freely. You understand that hadith now? But all your teachers, they teaching you stupidity and ignorance and mysterious things and crazy nonsense. Imam Mahdi's a rich man. He's going to just reach in his pocket and throw gold to people. Fuck, what the hell are you talking about? So this clarifies a lot, right? I can get in great hutbah on all of these things. I have a lot more to say. It will come, and I will make more videos and clarify things. I want the Muslim to send me something of a surah or a sharia or anything that you want me to clarify. I can do that for you people. Did you know that? No one is asking me. I don't get it. Ask, and I can tell you what it means, the real interpretations of things. Does it hurt to ask me? And then does it hurt for me to say it and then for you to hear it? If you don't believe it, you don't have to believe it. It's not hurting you to ask the questions, to get the answers. Isn't that what Allah says about the kings? It is for the kings to seek out wisdom. Are you not a prince and a princess? Isn't that what the Most High God has called His children? His children are princes and princesses of the earth. That's you and I. Why are we not acting like it and seeking out what God said is for kings? You want to be a king? You're a prince right now. You want to be a king? You need to seek out the truth and wisdom. You want to be a queen? Seek out the truth and wisdom. Or are you going to stay a prince and a princess for the rest of your life? We will all be Mahdi. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.